Hey everyone, this is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while making assumptions about group dynamics and holding frat libraries sacred.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Happy Halloween, HBs! We're reveling in spooky season over here, and we thought the best way to share in the frightful joy would be to jump out of the mist with 3 Halloween novellas. This week on the Patreon and Apple subscription bonus feeds, we're slithering into your brain with Jack by Layla Faye. She's a witch in a rut, and he's the monster who's gonna bang it out of her. Also, he's all abs, flaming jack-o'-lantern head, and it is delightful. It's got one of the most shocking epilogues we've read in a while, and you get all of our joyous reactions this Friday on Patreon or our Apple subscription. Today, we are pulling back the cobwebs with our first Halloween novella, and it's of the monster variety. Here's our recap of Not Today, Satan by Calliope Stewart. And Sabrina.
Listener, this was completely out of nowhere. Melody was just asking me, do you have banter? And I had no idea that she was about to roll in
It's spooky. It's our spooky week.
That reminds me of those TikToks where people have been doing ghost photo shoots and things like that.
What?
Have you not seen these?
No.
Oh, people have been doing ghost photo shoots, and the reason that it just made me think of it because somebody did one with a cow and a sheet, his pet cow. He put a ghost sheet on the cow, and I don't know why that I think it's because boo rhymes with moo.
Ooh. And Anita Kelly knows that.
And one of she does not. But one of the comments was, "Damn, you really took that moo to boo." And
wow.
It was so fucking funny to me. Ironically, do you ever this is a good segue, actually.
Okay, great. We're professionals.
Do you ever have moments where you forget that you are a part of a fairly niche community and some of the things that you just take for granted? This is just a part of life, part of reading.
You think is common knowledge or a really popular sometimes?
Okay, the reason I ask, and this is actually apropos, because we did a omegaverse novella for Halloween this year. One of the things we did for Halloween. We'll explain in a minute, listener, but I just need to get this out. So, as somebody who not only grew up with fan fiction back in the gap, where it was ABO, Alpha, Beta, Omega, right? Omegaverse is a fairly new term, but it used to be called ABO.
Okay.
And so I've just always been aware of Mpreg, Nodding, Slick, Omega. It has been a part of my life now for over half of my life.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And I forget occasionally that objectively, if you've never been introduced to it, it's weird, right?
Sure.
If you've and it reminds me of when people were like, "What's Nodding?" When Bride by Ali Hazelwood came out, they're like, "This is crazy." Yeah. I haven't even read
wild.
Bride, but my God, I know about that Nodding.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it, right?
Yeah.
I saw a fucking social media video that I think one of my friends sent me, and it was this girl essentially being an Omega influencer and talking about her nest and how she had like where her nest is and what like it's temporary because she's in the middle of moving and like what she has in the nest and like she has things that are good for soaking up slick and like cuddly fit and all that. And it was like watching an influencer video, right?
Yeah.
And I was just watching it and I was like, how delightful. And then I opened the comments.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah.
Not
This
everybody
isn't
knows about this.
Because like everybody was like, what the fuck is slick? What do you need absorbent towels for? Why are you in a corner? That's an awful lot of stuffed animal. Why are you on the floor? Like all of, like it was just like nonstop people being like, what the fuck? And then the other half of the comments were people going, I Googled it. The algorithm is fucked. Like, like, and there was one person who, like, there were like people who were like, it was one of those moments that made it very clear, right? I have this moment with sci-fi, alien, and monster romance in general as well sometimes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And like one of the books that we read today is a great example of some of those things where like this is just normal to me, and then I take a step back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, this is objectively strange.
Yeah. Well, and see, it's interesting because I guess the majority of omegaverse that I have read has been poly, like packs, you know? And so anytime I go into an omegaverse book, I'm just expecting it to be many people. That's just my automatic assumption.
Really?
Is that it's always going to be many people. Yeah. And so this book, for example, I got kind of pissed off because Kyle was dangled in front of us for so much of the book. And I was like, oh, so they're going to become a triad or like there's going to be a group scene of some sort. And like nothing.
I like how you're like, for so much of this book, Melody, it was like 16 pages at most that he was dangled in front of us. How
dare you? False. He comes back in the end too. Yeah, it was. So she had such a big crush on Kyle, and then Kyle was just this giant nothing burger. You know, justice for Kyle? Question mark.
Whoa, ma'am. Kyle's doing just fine.
I think Kyle. Yeah, but okay. Here's what I was expecting. You know, when sorry, listener, we're just gonna have a private talk. Just cool it. You know, when she sees him fucking that girl, and she has the white blonde hair.
Awakening. Mm-hmm.
I was expecting to find out that he was only having sex with that girl because he wanted to have sex with her because they both have white blonde hair or whatever.
I didn't even clock that he was fucking
exactly.
Against the
there
wall
was
had
nothing.
white blonde hair.
There was nothing.
I didn't even clock that.
Anyway.
That's hilarious.
Kyle's fine. Kyle's doing great in the world, but also why wasn't there? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't we, though?
By the way, Melody, this conversation is a great example, though, of what I was just talking about, where this is just normal, right? But like objectively, if you're just a person, you're like, even polyamorous people would be like, what?
Yeah.
Which? Hang on. Okay, this came up because, okay, listener, I'm going to spill the deeds about what we're doing this year for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Mel and I decided that instead of doing a Halloween book, we're giving you 2 Halloween novellas on the public feed and 1 Halloween novella on Patreon.
Yeah.
2 of these novellas, we're doing Not Today, Satan, like Cannot, Notting.
Yeah, Cannot Today.
Cannot Today, Satan by Calliope Stewart.
Yeah. And
Bewitching the Boss by Jessa Kane on public feed. You're about to get those. And then Jack by Layla Faye, which, by the way, listener, I've read Jack before.
Yeah.
And I am delighted. I forgot just how bonkers this was with my reread. And the entire time I was reading it, I was like, oh, Melody.
OMG.
I can't wait to talk about this with you. But anyway, so we're doing 2 novellas. 2 of these are bonkers monsters.
Monsters. Yeah. Magic, monster.
How is the contemporary the most bonkers book we're reading?
I chose Bewitching the Boss because I was like, look, we have something for everybody. We've got the monster fuckers. We've got people who love contemporary. It's like different flavors. It's so good. I was not expecting the fucking contemporary to come out swinging with craziness.
I went in knowing nothing.
Same.
Okay? I had no idea. And then the first line of that book came out swinging. Dick swinging. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And the more I read, so I ended up, one of my special friends, I messaged and I was like, bro, I need to talk to somebody about this book and I can't talk to the person who's reading it because we have to pod about it and we have to talk about this for the first time live.
Yeah, that's true.
We cannot text about this. Even though I did message you, what the fuck are we reading?
And I studiously ignored you.
Yep,
because we couldn't do it. We can't open the Pandora's box.
So I messaged him and he was like, why is it so bonkers? By the way, I was only like 35% in when I messaged him.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? And so I then started live snapping him randomly. I gave him like videos like of me giving him the recap up until like 35%.
Okay.
And he was like, what? He's like,
incredible.
Well, it works for the season because I am scared right now. What the fuck is happening? And I was like, bro, I don't know.
You want to know who is not scared? The victim.
yeah, right? And like, I kept snapping him throughout because like, there's just thing after thing after thing. Just, have you ever read a Jessica Kane before?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I had no idea. I am possibly about to be going down a rabbit hole, though. Not gonna lie.
First of all, I need all of those videos to be stitched together so that we can put them wherever I want to, please. And thank you.
Unfortunately, Snapchat doesn't save that shit.
And you didn't save it?
No, I was in a fucking fugue state of what the fuck? I wasn't thinking about the future.
God damn it, Sabrina.
And that was the first book I read of these three.
Same.
Like, I enjoyed all of them, but they all did not measure up in the way that I was hoping after that.
No.
You know? I enjoyed all of them.
Absolutely. That contemporary came out of fucking left field.
I was like, how is Jack not the most bonkers book that I'm reading this week?
I know.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started.
But first, we have some patrons to thank because, listener, we are going to be recapping Bewitched by the Boss tomorrow for you. So if you want to hear more about that contemporary that knocked our socks off, you got to come back for the Tuesday episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have some beautiful, wonderful, fantastic patrons who have joined us, and we're so thankful for you. Goddamn, I have so much fun in our Patreon community, and like, it's just because like listener is the best, you know? It's the best. Okay.
I have fun, even though I'm consistently horrified about the things that I will say after a live event is done being recorded. Like, why am I like this?
Yeah. Watch Party After Dark gets wild. I'm usually in bed too because I'm a granny.
Yeah. You're not even there to like rein me in. I'm just fucking dropping shit all over the place. And it's just, then I'm not even like, it's not even hangover anxiety. I don't have an excuse of being like intoxicated from like drugs or alcohol or anything. No, this is just me being me without you being like, oh, I'll cut this. It's just in their heads now.
It's true. Yeah, it's in their heads forever.
All right, so let's go.
All right, so hey, thank you so much for joining Jen B and Anya T,
Linnea K and Melissa U,
Molly G and Emily B,
Mary and Miranda,
Maya P and Laura J,
Allison V and Amy H,
Amanda and Haley,
Riley M and Thea C.
Thank
you.
Y'all
we
are
appreciate
so
you.
great.
We couldn't do this without you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Let's fucking go.
We're getting into Not Today, Satan, which is, it's not a group. There's no pack involved, everybody. And I just need you to know that up front.
About it, Melody. By the way,
Yeah.
what happenstance? How serendipitous? Because I had never heard of this author, and then Facebook got me, and I started one of her other series like right before England. So it's on hold right now because I went into my Silver Fox phase.
Sure.
While I was in England, and I just haven't crawled out of that yet. But I had never heard of her before. And then I started this Omegaverse, which is a pack Omegaverse, so you might enjoy it. It's like, it is delightful. It's the first one she ever wrote. It's based in San Francisco, whatever. But, also,
tell me everything.
I suspect, based on reading this book, that all of her worlds are connected. All of her universes are connected, and I'm a slut for that. I'm a slut for that. Because a lot of the stuff that was being talked about, like world building wise, I was like, ooh, I recognize this in Always Waiting.
Nice. Yeah, so we've got Eden. Eden is a college student. She is an Omega, and she lives in a dorm with another Omega. And her name is Cleo. Yeah, BFFs forever. And Cleo is always trying to get Eden to like come out and hang out and like be cool.
Be social and like, do things. And she is deeply obsessed in love with her boyfriend, Schmirgelbutt.
Yes.
Don't remember his name.
And Schmirgelbutt is a sports ball, big one at that
and it
university.
Turns out there's this big party that one of the Alpha, Beta,
Alpha,
Omega.
Sigma, Kappa, Phi.
Yep. Alpha, Sigma, Kappa, Phi. And they throw like the Halloween party of the century every single year, which I guess makes it not of the century.
And these two bitches have been trying, Cleo, not Eden. Cleo has been trying to get an invite since freshman year.
Clear, if you're not this friend, you have this friend. Everybody has one of these friends who is like super cool, super fun, super down to earth, but is like, there is this thing that I would fucking kill somebody.
Yeah.
To get an invitation to. And if I'm going, you're going. And if you're going, I'm going.
Yes. But Cleo has nothing to worry about anymore because Schmirgelbutt is like king of the Alpha, Kappa, Beta, Phi, Epsilon.
Football boys.
Yeah. So she's definitely getting a +1 at the very least.
Yeah,
anyway.
I was not clear. Like, we don't have time to dig into their relationship, but I had a lot of questions about some of the logistics of this novel, you know? But
like when they go into heat, does it happen at the same time? How does that work? Are those your questions?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're on a triannual cycle.
Yes.
So she went into heat last in September.
Yeah,
She's
I know.
To go into heat until January. Which means she probably has 3 heats a year.
Yes, I know. I know that part, but like they're not, we don't know if they're synced up. The other one could be like in May.
Oh, you think this is like periods?
Yes.
And they just like, you're wondering if God, can you imagine that dorm room?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, she said there's like, here's the thing. She goes to a university that is made specifically for alphas and omegas. And so they have like an Omega heat center where they send all the needy bitches.
Which like, this is very common in Omegaverse, where there's like an Omega center where if you don't have a pack or like a partner, an alpha or a beta, I guess, or an Omega, I don't know what you're into.
Sure.
You go to like an Omega center and it always sounds like the most fucking...
The dreariest.
Dreary. Cold. Sanitized.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. And, like, every time I read an Omegaverse, because, like, to be clear, if I had to live in an alternate fantasy universe, it would absolutely be an Omegaverse.
Fair.
10,000%. I fucking love Omegaverse.
Yeah.
But I think I would die in an
Omega center?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because in this Omega Center, it's not even like they have alphas on standby to service the Omegas.
No!
They're just like, bring any sex toy you want, ? And like, you can do, like, it's like the moon tent almost, it feels like. You know what I mean? It's like, you've got stuff coming out of you. We need you to go over here. Thank you so much.
at least this happened. This isn't like a monthly thing for them.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's been dreaming about this hand coming out of the mist.
Yeah.
And like
being like, hold out to you.
Yeah.
And she really wants to grab it, but most of the time she has like dream paralysis. And so she can't reach out for it.
Do anything.
And then at one point, the voice behind the hand in the mist is like, soon. I will have you soon.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
we'll make a deal.
Yeah, she's like, bet, sign me up. Where?
Yeah.
When? I'm RSVPing, period, the end. But now Eden and Cleo are on the quad trying to go places. They run into football boys. I get Kyle just dangled in front of me. He tries to talk to her. She gets really nervous and she says, I have to go paint things. And then she scurries away like a little mouse. All right?
Yeah, she's had a crush on this alpha for a while.
Yeah. And so
He's gotta get a book, right?
I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Claudette Everston. That's not her name. Calliope Stewart.
Claudette Everston?
I have no idea. Calliope Stewart has promised me nothing, okay? And what I thought was being previewed, I was mistaken. I don't know if Kyle gets a book or not. So anyway, they decide to go to like one of the fraternity's parties, just like a random one. Mm-hmm. And when she's there, she gets approached by head Alpha Sigma Epsilon Pluto boy, and he is like, he's like, hey, I need you to help us out. And she's like, I don't know what you could possibly want from me, and I'm a little bit scared. And he's like, Cleo showed us some of your art, and it looks so good. And so we need you for the Halloween party. We need your help. We need your genius. Because they've got this like abandoned house somewhere, and that's where they're going to host the Halloween party.
Well, they don't want to host it at their frat house because somebody might fuck up the library.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Somebody might spray paint all over that library, and you can't have it. The frat house library is sacred. Thank you so much.
Sacred.
We're not taking questions at this time.
Nope.
Go ask Alex Gabriel.
Yep.
I think that's right? Did I nail that?
There's a reason I wasn't saying names.
Man, I'm a hot genius. Out of my
asshole. You pulled Alex Gabriel out of your asshole from like 6 months ago, but you just fucking said Claudette Everston instead. You got like 4 letters right, so I'll give you that.
Thank you.
So he's like, we have this like old spooky rundown house, and we want you to paint pentagrams and like symbols all over
Cult
it.
stuff. The occult.
With like chalk and things like that. And it's like, by the way, bing boom bong.
Pay your artists?
Well, not only that, but she's getting paid in an invite, right?
Oh, I mean, that's fucked though.
It is fucked because she doesn't
Those
like
tits
parties.
should get her the invite. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't know about the tits until she's a little angel.
Hmm.
But like art mediums with Sabrina,
okay,
being able to paint with acrylics does not necessarily translate to being a good chalk artist. They're like, your art's really cool. Will you come
good.
do all of this stuff? Mm-hmm. So she agrees. Cleo's super excited because now they're going to the party of the century that happens every single year.
That's the one.
While she's at this party, she goes upstairs to go pee. Okay.
Yes.
And then on her way out of peeing, she walks past a bedroom and she
hears this slapping,
slappity
flesh.
slap. And she peeks
and she hears Kyle. Ooh, it's so good. She hears. And then she hears Kyle growling into this blonde, super blonde bitch's hair, okay? And he's growling, oh, you're so tight for me, aren't you? And she is into it. She's like riveted. And it's Kyle's voice that finally makes her realize, I'm being a creeper. I have got to go right now.
And then as she's leaving, though, while she was up there peeing, I was cackling so hard because apparently in this frat house, when somebody goes up to fuck, they put like a do not disturb sign across the hallway that just has a fucking sign with an eggplant emoji on it.
I really like it. Just like get to the point.
There's multiple rooms upstairs. Shut the door and so other people can fuck up there.
I mean, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they're like, you can only cross this barrier if you too want to fuck.
If you are oh.
You know?
Oh.
It's like the fuck zone.
This has become I was just going to say, this has become like the very important fuck place.
Yes.
Like VIF only.
That's right.
So we zippy zap and we meet
Luke.
Oh.
It's Luke. Yeah. It's Lucifer in formal times. But if it's just LUC, that's French Luke.
You learn new things every day.
You were walking around calling this man LOOSE in your brain parts the whole book. You were having her scream, loose, loose.
I could... It doesn't matter. That's a rabbit hole.
I'm almost positive it's Luke.
Also, to be clear, Melody, I read this like for the first time like maybe 6 hours ago. So like it's not like very long that I've been calling him loose in my head.
Oh, sure. That changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
that changes your whole past reading experience, I'm sure of it.
Yeah. This book is totally different now that it's pronounced Luke instead of Luke. So anyway, we meet Luce. Nope. Yes. Which one's the right one?
We meet Lucifer, aka Luke. And he is the devil, okay? And he runs hell, all right? And all you people out there who've been drawing him red your whole lives, you better feel stupid. Ooh.
He's dark green.
He's a green boy.
It's a lot.
And he's got neon flashy lights under his skin parts.
I was just going to say he's glow in the dark boy.
Yeah. But only when he's embarrassed or hard.
Yep, embarrassed or horny.
Yeah.
And we find out hell is a bureaucracy, which, like, there's no way it's not a bureaucracy. Every time hell is shown as a bureaucracy in a novel,
it's like the most real.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
And so he has an HR manager who had me cackling every time he came on because he is like...
He's the inventor of bureaucracies in human times.
Yeah. And so he's just... I don't even know his name, Mark Webber or something like that.
Yeah.
And he, at one point, he plays a prank on Luke by post-itting every wall in his office.
No, everything. His chair.
Everything? Okay.
His computer. His stapler.
And he's like, look at the prank I did on you.
Yeah, he's so proud of himself.
And Luke's like, oh my God. And he's like, it took so long.
Yeah.
It's a good one, huh?
And he says only this guy would do a lame yet incredibly work-intensive prank.
Yeah, so tedious. So tedious.
So tedious.
And then he leaves and Luke just waves his hand and it all disappears immediately. And I was like, that's
a magical demon fallen angel
so
boy.
Sad, though. Can you imagine spending your whole fucking night post-iting your boss's office and feeling so fucking proud of your prank and then just...
Look, Mark Webber, or whatever his name is, has known Satan for a few hundred years at this point. Like, he knows that that's what's going to happen. For sure. You know? Anyway, so we meet him and he keeps on getting like tingles in his nethers and he keeps on having dreams about this Omega. And apparently, Luke, every once in a while, can get summoned if an Omega draws enough of the symbols in the right order and like other stuff.
They're in heat.
And they're in
specifically.
Heat. And he's like, it rarely happens. And that's why it's like a dream come true when it does.
It breaks up the monotony of hell, you know? Also, this is when we learn the very important fact, because he does jack off at his desk, that his cum is glowing neon green.
Yes. Also, he jacks off exclusively with his tail.
Yep.
I just need everybody to know that.
Which, like, to be fair, if I had a tail, same though.
Yeah, I just like thinking about sending the instructions down to the base of my ass in order to send the instructions to like, you know, a different place. It just seems really complicated to me.
Do you have to send instructions to the tips of your fingers every time you use them?
I mean, yeah, but that's natural for me, you know? I haven't lived with a dexterous tail for 37 years.
Yes, but having a tail after multiple millennia of having a tail, at that age of having a tail, I feel like you sometimes don't even realize your tail's doing it, right? You're just like talking to somebody and your tail's like trying to get in your zipper and you're like, back, back.
Either that or you look over and the tail is just baking a cake. And you're like, oh, that's convenient.
Ooh. I was just going to say that's even better, right? Like that, I would love that.
Yeah.
So she is looking in a library for inspiration.
Yeah.
And then...
Ooh, she finds a special book.
A little book
spooky.
falls off of the bookshelf randomly. Woo!
And it has no title or author on it, okay? It's just old leather. It's like the supplest leather because so many hands have been on it.
It's definitely skin, right?
It's for sure skin. And when she opens it, it's in a language she doesn't know, but boy, does it have the best runes she's ever seen in her life.
And it's handwritten.
Handwritten. Yeah, and she's like, this is perfect. I'm just going to take this out and I'm going to use this as my inspiration. And there's one really intricate circle boy that has vines and so many things in it and
a ram head.
Wow. And she's like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do for a whole room is what I'm going to do.
And this is one of those moments where I think to myself, I would be the one who lived in a horror movie. You know? Because I wouldn't touch that book with a 10-foot goddamn pole. That book would have accidentally fallen off of the shelf in front of me, and I would have gone to the library and been like, hey.
There's a mess over in aisle 3.
I'll let you take care of that.
I don't mean to put more work on you, but it is your job and not mine.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, I don't know that I would think twice about it in like April or May or something, but like...
But in spooky season?
A week before Halloween?
Sure.
Absolutely not. When the veil is thinnest? Absolutely not.
Oh, the veil is thinning every moment heading up to spooky season.
I tear things accidentally too fucking often for somebody to let me near the veil around Halloween.
Truly. So she gets dressed and like ready to go to this party and she's in a t-shirt and leggings because she's just going to do art and then fuck off. That is her plan. And meanwhile...
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Her roommate, Cleo, her best friend, is like, you can't go in that outfit. We need to dress you up.
Yeah. Wouldn't
you wait to get dressed until after you chalked the house?
That was my instinct, too. Yes. I would not chalk the entire house with my tits hanging out.
In a white dress with wings?
Yeah. Yep. She's an angel. Cleo dresses her up as an angel with all the tits. That's her costume.
She's the sluttiest little angel.
Ooh, it's hot. And everybody thinks so, including Kyle, I will have you know. Pointedly, Kyle loses his speech when he sees her, and he's like, Eden, wow, you look. And she's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm totally awkward in front of you. Goodbye. And she like runs into the house to get the chalk. And then an army of
she
babies
does boss around some babies. It's so not an important point in this book, but I needed to talk to you about
Everybody needs to know.
Listener, she walks into this house and then the big bad Kappa Sigma Omega Pluto boy.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Kenneth. Ray.
Yeah, Raymond or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, these are the pledges and they're at your beck and call. You can order them around. And if she tells you, babies, that she needs to hang something, you hit the ground on your knees and let her pretty little feet step all over you.
And she's like, first of all, pretty little feet. I'm going to remember that until the day I die.
I did clock that, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Why? You know?
But I clocked it differently, but yeah.
It's always out of nowhere. It's always out of nowhere. It doesn't even come back. Luke doesn't even have a foot fetish or anything. Like, why was that necessary?
That is hilarious.
So anyway, all of these pledges are in diapers and baby bonnets, and that's it.
Yeah. These grown-ass boys, because they're not men. You know what I mean? They're still 18. But these grown-ass boys are just walking around in cloth diapers and baby bonnets.
Absolutely headcanoned that all of them had pacifiers.
Pacifiers in their mouth, yes.
Yeah. There's no way
Obviously.
that they didn't have pacifiers.
Otherwise, they would talk, and you don't want that.
Unless you're ordering them around and they're like, yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. All of them in unison. Just an army of babies.
But I would rather hear that with the gushy mouth you get while also holding a pacifier in your mouth.
Heinous. It was beautiful. So we zippy zap. She's drawn stuff all over the house. She's chalked everything.
Boy, it's
and now
spooky.
she's chalking that final gigantor symbol that's going to be
Yeah.
in this cauldron room.
And then she starts like feeling a cramp. Ugh, that's weird.
Importantly, everyone leaves the house. The babies are no longer harassing her. Everyone has left for errands. By the way,
Yeah.
real quick, bang, boom, bong. OSHA has entered the chat.
Interesting.
She makes a comment as she walks through the house
Oh,
of
yeah.
some
of
of
the
these
floorboards.
boards are mushy and move under her.
Yeah.
This is a house that's been abandoned for 20 years. You're going to bring
You're gonna make
army
500 college students into this
of
thing?
drunk college students
Yeah.
into this. There's no way that floor is not falling out from underneath them.
At my college, that happened.
Shut the fuck up. Tell me
Yeah.
everything.
It's wild. So at my college, luckily, I don't think anybody died, but people were definitely injured. It was one of the apartment complexes off campus, okay? And they had way too many people up on in their second floor apartment. And then they put on a song that's like, it wasn't like the jump, jump, jump song, but it was something like that where everybody in the apartment, or at least most of them, started bouncing on the same beat, and the floor fell out from underneath them. Literally.
Listener, this is why you just don't hang out with people and you just stay
Yeah.
in your house alone.
This is why
You know?
you hermit and video chat with friends.
Yep.
Okay? Movies are just as fun when on video chat with friends. That's what that is. Yeah, it was wild.
So she's drawing the symbol. Everyone's gone. And then she gets a spike, a heat cramp. And she's like, what? I'm not supposed to have a heat until January.
It's a mystical heat, everybody. It's a faded heat.
And Slick is dripping down her thighs. And then all of a sudden, there's green mist because he has an aesthetic.
Yeah, and so her Slick hits the chalk, and then it like spirals out through the chalk of the rune, and then green mist starts coming up, and we hear like a
Whoa. Please, no. We do
Yeah,
not
that
hear
happened.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's like,
No.
I'm gonna fuck you sideways.
Ma'am. Actually, listener, what happens is a lot sexier because he comes up and we hear
How
a
dare
deep,
you say I'm not sexy? Listener, you heard it here first. Sabrina is putting me down. She's nagging me. She did it right in front of all of us, and she's not even ashamed.
I'm not even sorry.
No, she's not. There's no repentance on her face at all. Whatever, man.
So, a deep curling voice comes out of the mist, in fact, and it says, well, I had all but lost hope that you would actually be able to summon me. And then she's like, who are you? And
No, she's like, I burst into tears and try to run for the door. Who are you? Like, she's scared.
No.
Capital S scared.
Not yet. Not yet. He's a dramatic little asshole first because he's like,
Okay, fair.
I am known by many names.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
he goes through his whole ass list. He's like,
Beelzebub, Misanthropic.
the Daystar, Abaddon,
Yeah.
Adramelech, like all of these things. And she's like, the mist has
Asmus from
disappeared.
Casmus. That's a deep cut. Is what
And
that
like
is.
he's sexy and he's huge and he's over 7 feet tall and he's
Ooh.
got black curly horns
And he's got dark green skin.
and he's in a 3-piece suit.
Ooh.
And then he says, but you, my angel, you may call me Luke.
Loose.
Wait,
Go ahead and just call me Loose.
what's the right one, Melody?
Luke!
I'm not good. Okay, so I'm not good at binary things. I get
It's
them
Luke.
flip-flopped, Like the minute it's tertiary,
That's
I'm
fair.
like, oh
That's
yeah,
fair.
I'm fine. But if it's only 2 options, I'm like,
It could be anything.
It could be either of them. And it's a 50-50 chance, and somehow I get it wrong every time.
It's Luke. I was just trolling you.
You're an asshole. So this is when she's terrified, and she tries to run, and he thinks to himself, he's like, oh, every time
Yeah.
I'm going to get my ass kicked back through the veil faster than I can say, let's make a deal.
Ooh.
Like, and she's like, please don't eat me. And he's like, I'm not going to eat you. And then in his head, he's like,
Not that way.
Not that way anyway.
Yeah.
And so she's like crying, and he's like, you summoned me. Why are you freaking out right now? You summoned me knowing what you're getting.
This is bullshit. No, I've written this rune on my sketchbooks. I've written it everywhere, and nothing has happened. This felt safe to me. And he's like, yeah, but you activated it with your slick. Because I am of the alpha persuasion.
The essence of Omega.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but it was super cute because he summoned a couch out of nowhere because he realizes that she's scared, and he like sits her down, and he's like holding her hand, and he's like, you did summon me. Let me explain what's happening here. Oh,
here's
so
a general
cute.
protocol. We have one night of crazy, blissed out heat sex.
If you agree.
If you agree, yeah. And I'll give you like the wish of your dreams.
But then she's like, essence of Omega. Are you talking about my slick? That's gross, dude. And he says, I don't make the rules. Buddy, you're the devil. Right? Pretty sure you do.
Who, if not you, then who?
And then he finds out her name is Eden. He's like, you're an Omega named Eden, and you're dressed in an angel costume?
Oh, and he loves it.
He's so into it. And so then they need to make a deal. He's also thinking to himself, which this made me laugh so hard. Apparently, the HR manager's name is Max. And he's thinking to himself, he's like, if this is a fucking prank by Max, I am sending him to forever hell.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I'm like, I don't think that Max is creative enough for this, frankly.
No, and also he doesn't have the strings to pull to get people to do stuff in the human realm. You know what I mean?
Even Luke can't get into the human realm without being summoned. Like,
without a happenstance, accidental liquid problem.
Well, because like it turns out the last time he was here was in like the 1800s. I loved this so much because I've seen this meme where it's like, it would be awesome, or like a book prompt, if the demon shows up and the guy, like the sorcerer that did the like lady virgin sacrifice, like, buddy, you're not the one who summoned me. She did.
Yeah. And now I'm going to murder you all in the face.
Yeah. And she was already dead, and it was so sad.
It was sad.
He was really sad about it, but he did get revenge. He did fucking tank those puppies.
He laid them out. Is what he did.
Also, I love this lore. Apparently, Lucifer is the one who gave Adam his first knot.
Oh, yeah.
In the Garden of Eden. And so, like, we have the religion and the lore of it all.
And then she's like, but why can't I smell you? And he goes, oh, I'm holding my scent back because my scent is what you might call catnip to Omegas. And so I need you to make a rational choice as to whether or not you want to make a deal. I need unmitigated consent before we can do anything.
Well, then he calls her out like a motherfucker because he looks at her and he's like, I can feel your nerves and your fear of me fading and your arousal, because he's an empath, right?
Yeah.
And so he can't read her mind, but he can feel her feelings. And he's like, I saw the way you looked at my horns. You're much more perverted than you would like others to think.
And she's like, can you read my mind? Are you sure you can't?
And then we find out Eden is a virgin, and he is ready to pound that virgin pussy.
Yes.
He's so excited.
He's extra excited for the virginity of it all. Yeah.
And then she says yes. And so his scent comes out, wafting off of him, and she starts huffing him like he's a drug. She's like...
She literally throws her face into his neck so that she can be like... It's great. Yeah. And then he's like, I need you to make me a nest before we do anything else. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then he like snaps his fingers and they're in this like black liminal space. And he's like, just think about whatever nest you want. Sabrina's not into it.
Horrifying. This would be, I'd be like, consent revoked.
You didn't tell me you were taking me to space. Sir,
the great beyond.
There is nothing scarier than open space.
This is worse than I would go with the murder maid to the depths of the ocean before you dump me into fucking space.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
But yeah, so he's like, we're gonna work through all of your fantasies and desires one by one, and then it's super cute. She thinks of her nest that she dreams of, and he makes it happen.
And it might be also my dream nest.
Same.
It's a solarium, basically.
Yeah. And like you can look up at the glass and like there's like you can see the rain falling on and like running down the side. Same.
Okay, wait. Listener, here's the thing. I just remembered another detail that everybody needs to know about because I felt like it was extra proof that Kyle was going to be brought into a group, all right? She says that he always smells like caramel. And she loves his caramel scent. And then Demon Boy, Luke, says that she smells like Granny Smith apples.
Oh my God, you're right.
And then she tastes Luke's cum in just a minute. Spoiler alert. She tastes Luke's cum in just a minute, and he tastes like cinnamon. Sabrina? Okay. That is a group. How dare you? How dare you look me
have to do with this?
In my beautiful Sherlock Holmes face and tell me you're confused about how caramel and apple and cinnamon go together?
Hang on. This is not a Sherlock Holmes. This is a red herring. Red herrings in 2024.
You and Claudette Everston are on a team against me, and I don't know if the podcast can survive it.
It's just because I'm 81% into another of her books, so we're basically besties, and I just know her really well. You know,
you just knew what she was all about.
Yeah, feel free to, I'm going to not message her later because we don't actually know each other. She doesn't know I exist.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going to keep our parasocial relationships parasocial.
But we're basically besties. I knew where this was going.
Yeah, you knew Kyle didn't mean a ding darn thing.
Yeah.
To anybody.
Yeah. He's just a dingleberry.
How fucking dare everyone? Cinnamon and apple?
No, legitimately,
caramel.
I'm very confused. I don't know that I've ever had cinnamon on
it's a spooky season.
On a caramel apple.
No, but you can spice apple cider with cinnamon and caramel. You can make a caramel apple pie that has cinnamon in it, obviously. These are flavors that
and
mesh.
Your cider?
Okay. No, but I've made at a bar actually.
I am hurting Melody on a deep level right now. I'm
really,
not even
she
trying
is.
to.
Really,
I'm not
she
even
is. At one of the bars I used to work at, we would make a fall or spooky season apple teeny, and we would put caramel on the rim of the glass.
Oh, that sounds bomb as fuck.
Doesn't it? Because those flavors go so fucking well together. Sabrina, say it. Say it.
So, anyway. No, I legitimately, I don't know.
Denied in front of all of our friends. Would it have made more sense if one of them had smelled like peanut? Or chocolate? Because that also goes on caramel apples. But apparently cinnamon is out of the question for Sabrina.
Well, cinnamon is a powder.
Or is that a candy apple? Is that different from a caramel apple? Do you put peanuts on caramel apples or candy apples?
On shit. Don't you fucking put peanuts in my sweets. Any of my sweets. I'm not fucking interested.
She's got a hard line, everybody.
I do. I don't like it. Oh my God. And people who eat nuts in their fucking ice cream, lunatic.
Oh, delish. Fucking moose tracks. You got some of those peanuts that are just coated in chocolate. Ugh.
No. I also don't like cold chocolate though. Like fudge or get the fuck out.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't like hard things, and it's a texture thing. I don't like hard things in my ice.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just don't. So anyway, they're in her nest, and it's beautiful and light and airy, and they're kissing, and he lays her back in this sunken nest, and she's like, she realizes he's just as turned on as she is because he's a goddamn
he's
light
glowing
show.
From the bottom to the top. He's just like, there's just like these flashes of glowingness, and she thinks that he's immediately just gonna like penetrate her. And then she is astounded and delighted that the first thing he does is go down on her. And she realizes, she's like, oh, your tongue. And he says, oh, it's longer than a human man's tongue.
I love a monster tongue that can grow in length and thickness at your fucking behest.
Y'all, at one point, he brings out a doppelganger so that they can double penetrate her as one. And she's sitting up, straddling him. And as his doppelganger is penetrating her ass, his giant tongue just comes out and keeps going and going and going and going so it can lick her clit.
There is
a limit?
Yeah. Okay. Because this
his tail could have done that so easily.
Yeah. Why do you use your tongue? It's like coming out of your mouth. It's like 8 feet long. And like, I don't know how I feel. I've read a lot of books where their tongue just like slithers. Fuck, 2 today.
2 today.
Like, fucking their tongue comes out and like diddles your clit while they're like right in front of your face. Why is that sexy?
I mean, it's impressive, I guess, you know? But like also, it missed her nipple on the way down. You know what I mean? Like you could have taken a pit stop at the nipple and then gone down to the clit. But instead you were just like, blah.
I did just read
and it just kept on rolling.
I did read an alien nodding erotica thing where he uses his tongue to choke her from behind. I was like, I might accept that, you know?
That's great, yeah.
But I don't have to face the consequences of my decision.
No, you're facing away at that point.
You know what I mean? So he is like going down on her. He thinks she's irresistible and ooh, he's gone down on a lot of omegas over the millennia, but boy, she tastes so fucking good.
There's just a difference with her. Like he doesn't understand.
He likes that appley pussy, man.
Oh man, he's bobbing for those apples, okay? And there you can't stop him. Can't stop, won't stop. And this has been this has been also like sort of a theme because like he's having different kinds of dreams about her. He, you know, like everything has been different up until this point. And so they spend her entire heat just sexing each other in any way possible.
At one point, she does one of my most favorite things in an alien monster romance, and she uses his horns as handlebars.
Yes. And they're really sensitive. And then when she finds out they're sensitive, she's like, I bet you could put that in my pussy. And he's like, I bet I could.
She is a perverted little freak, and I love her.
I love it. And so he's like, I've never done that before, but like, yes, we definitely should.
Oh, and he's got like some great little fucking dirty talk in this book. Like at one point, if you're into like cum feeding, he's like feeding her his cum and he's like, suck it while putting his fingers in her mouth, and like she's touching on his tail and like all of these things, and it's time for, oh my god, when he first penetrates her, he does it, and obviously he has a monster cock. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
there's no other option.
Ginormous.
Yeah.
And he shoves that puppy in there, and then once it's all the way in there, he's like, such a good girl.
Oh,
Even though it hurt, you took my whole cock
in one go.
Ooh, and then if you're a good girl person, this is the book for you. There's a lot of praise. And so now he uses his tail right?
Yes.
Like, he's fucking her and he, like, diddles her clit with his tail. Why
Yeah.
couldn't you do that the next time, buddy, instead of
Well,
using your weird fucking moth tongue?
Because variety is the essence of
The cinnamon of life.
fun times. Yeah.
Spice.
So they do like all the sex possible, right? Every position you can think of. He will create these scenarios like out of the liminal space if they want to leave the nest. I told you about when he brought his doppelganger out and they fucked her together.
Then at one point he coats his horns in silicone.
Yeah.
And
he takes her into an underwater scene so that gravity doesn't make any sense.
Because she's like, why are we underwater and you're making it so we can breathe underwater? And he's like, honestly, I'm just trying to show off for you a little bit. And she's like, you're a 1,000-year-old being. Why are you showing off to a 20-something-year-old Omega? And he's like, why wouldn't I show off to you? You've shared every devious little thought with me over the course of your heat. Besides, if we're blah, 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 blah. And then he says, though, to be honest, I could have also turned off gravity. This just has a bit more pizzazz. And wiggles his fingers in a ta-da! I was like, Luke, you fucking dork. I love you.
It's so good. So yeah, he fucks her with that horn while she jacks off his other horn.
Yeah, and then he's like, you're playing a dangerous game. And she's like, the dangerous games are the most fun. And then he is horn fucking her and then puts his tail in her ass.
Oh, that's right.
As like touching up on her. And she's like, oh my God, this is so hot. And he's like, play dangerous games, win dangerous prizes, angel. And then makes her come like a freight train. And as she's coming, he like yoinks her off of his horn and just slams her down on his knot like a fucking whack-a-mole.
Yes.
And one of my favorite, oh my God, Melody, one of my favorite lines in this entire book. They're doing one of his fantasies and he's fucking her in heaven on a cloud.
That's
and she has wings and they're horny wings. You touch those wings and she's like, that feels so good.
Just like those Sarah J. Maas Bat Boys.
Yep. And he's like, you look the part, Eden, like the prettiest angel in heaven. And then she's talking about her horny wings and she says, it was almost like I had sprouted 2 highly sensitive clits from my back.
Yes.
I was dying. It was hilarious.
It was fantastic. So then she also keeps on just like passing out on his chest. And there's
not so good.
What?
Not so good?
Why?
Cannot so good?
Oh, yikes. So the first time they have sex, for example, the first time.
Here,
yeah. Who's on first? It's a who's on first moment.
Yeah.
So when he knots her for the first time, she like hard passes out and he says, technically, I wasn't constrained by the physics of, a human man. So I could deflate my knot at any point, but I really like this feeling of closeness with her. And that should have been your sign, Babalooey.
He just schnuzzles her. He like lays on his back in the nest and like schnuzzles her on top of him and holds her.
Yeah. And so that is the tone of all of like the aftercare in this, right? And now he's like, okay, I'm pretty sure that her heat is waning and this is going to be our last encounter. Oh no, I've got to make it really special for her.
I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Your final crazy sex experience during the hottest heat of your life with the literal devil who can make all of your fantasies come true.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an exhibition scene at a college Halloween party?
Only if what you're trying to do is set her up with the next penis that has a knot that she should be with, aka Kyle.
We even know she can take 2 knots because she gets double knotted by both of him.
Yes! And Kyle is in there. Luke makes him naked or whatever for her viewing pleasure.
Yeah, listen, okay, to set the scene, listener, they're both naked. And he's like, I have an idea. I remember one of the fantasies you thought of. And then he zippy zaps them into the main room of the party house that they were in with the party going wild. And she's like, oh my God, I'm naked. And he's like, nobody can see you. And she's like, aw. And he's like, do you want people to see you? And she's like, I mean, kind of. And so he like, boom.
But she says, like, what kind of situation is this? And he's like, I've conjured all of them. There will be no actual real world consequences for you. She's like, okay, then yes, get everyone naked and fucking.
And then he fucking snaps his fingers and it goes from like everybody like dancing and having a party to just the most raucous orgy.
Yeah. Including Kyle over there.
He plops her down on his dick and then starts floating.
Yeah, they start ascending.
She rides him like a goddamn Pegasus.
That's right.
In the middle of the air.
And it's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
But like, stop dangling this human man in front of me
so funny.
if you're not going to use him.
I just could not get over. I was like, this isn't the last, you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of other situations, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of other places that are a sexier exhibition, you know?
Most definitely. Yeah, then like a beer-soaked, smelly frat house.
A kegger Halloween party.
Come on. Yeah, no, but it was great.
Oh, and then he tells her, while she's fucking him, it's the last time. And he thinks that she feels like his memories of heaven, warm and pleasurable.
Yeah.
And then he says to her, fuck me, Eden. Memorize the way my cock feels inside of your body. No mortal man will be able to make you feel this way again. Which, like...
Rude. True. But also rude.
Yeah, that is true.
Come on.
Rude.
That's fucked.
And then it's the end of the heat. And he's like, all right, well, you can ask for whatever you want. And she's like,
whatever I want?
And he's like, yes. And then I'm curious, just because of what you said earlier.
Yeah.
What was your impression of what happened next?
My impression was that she wished, like, they would spend every heat together or something.
Okay. So what happened is when she gets back to the real world, it's only been a couple of minutes as far as the real world is concerned. And when she's like thinking about it, it's almost like it never happened. All of her scrapes and bites and nibbles are all gone. Her bruises from all of the crazy sex. And then she looks down at her palm.
Yeah.
And she has the crescent-shaped silver marks of a bond mark. They're mates. They have officially mated. It's not just spending heats together. He bonded her. They're mated.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense. That's why we're going to be recapping Not Again, Satan for Christmas times. Because that's the next, it's like a holiday novella series and Eden like goes to hell or something. So I guess that's why she gets a special fast pass to hell.
Well, and she thinks to herself, she's like, I need to come up with some new ideas to bring to my next heat.
Yeah.
I'm curious what Claudette Everston is going to whip out for Not Again, Satan.
I'm very stoked about it. Yeah.
I'm delighted. This was a romp. This was just a delightful. It was like 112 pages.
Yeah.
It was and just fun.
It was so fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. So listen, listener, tomorrow it is going to be a different book, but we're recording it right now and we've already read it. And like, it is literally the most bonkers of the three. And like the other one that we're going to be recapping for Patreon has pumpkin cum in it. You know what I mean? Like but somehow the contemporary, the straight up
contemporary with no magic
is the most bonkers one.
Is the most bonkers book
by far.
It's one of the most bonkers books that I've read in a hot minute.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
We've been reading IAD.
Yes.
And this is one of the most bonkers things I've read.
People have been chewing their own limbs off left and fucking right.
We've had Deadpool baby legs, and reading this book, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye. Thank you for getting spooky with us. We'll be back tomorrow with Bewitching the Boss by Jessa Kane. And it's Nutter Butters good. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow!